All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. This is the final portion of our alert day. It's coming to an end here. We got some cold weather coming in tonight. Could be some leftover snow that melts and refreezes tonight. We'll get into that. But watch out for ice on the roads, especially this morning. But that should be getting better this afternoon. But it could refreeze over late tonight again, because we're going to have bitter cold weather, especially tonight. It'll be chilly during the day, but at least allow some of the snow to start melting. And guess what? It's warming up by this weekend, which is certainly some good news in my opinion. Here's your commute forecast. About 38 and sunny at 4 o'clock. Sunny at 5 o'clock, but the sun starts setting 34 degrees. But look at that, down to 27 by 6 p.m. This ice may linger in certain places, especially where there's no sunlight hitting it, but just keep that in mind. Look at all this dry air filtering into our neck of the woods now. And that dry air is good because that evaporates all that moisture out of here. And that's the last thing we need. So here's your alert day again. It's effective until I think about 12 or 12:30. Then that will do it. Again, watch for ice on the roads, especially this morning and maybe again late tonight. Bitter cold expected tonight again, warming up by the weekend. So here is your forecast. Abundant sunshine, around 39 today. Snow slowly melting, getting out of here. Winds east-northeast at 5 miles per hour. Now, here's your forecast overnight. Now, this is going to be around 16. That's dangerously cold weather, obviously. Sky is mostly clear, and it will be, the winds will be calm. And here's your forecast for Thursday. Partly cloudy. Yeah, Thursday, 47 for the high. That's not terribly cold, but it's certainly chilly. And the winds will be calm. It'll be partly cloudy and cold during the day. All right, let's take a look at your 7-day forecast. Again, this ends at 12 o'clock. 47 on Thursday, 46 and staying cold on Friday with a low of 18 by Saturday morning. We finally get up to 51, a chilly day on Saturday, fall back to around 30 by Sunday morning. Now, we have about a 30% chance for showers in the forecast for Sunday afternoon, I think. It's trending warmer. And then around 41 degrees, finally out of the freezing categories, especially in the morning hours. And we have a 50% chance of rain on Monday with a high of 60. We're about to fall back to around 40 by Tuesday morning. And we're down to a 20% chance for a shower on Tuesday with a high of 62. Now, here are the forecast temperatures for next week. You can clearly see they're above normal instead of the below normal we've had so far this week. And we'll look at precipitation chances. We're slightly above normal precipitation for next week, but not anything terribly bad. Nick, over to you.
Hey Rex, of course, with that recent snowfall event, I know that we had a few days in a row that were alert days, including today. But all things considered, the flurries have they're no longer flying, right? But it is brutally cold in the area. In fact, this morning we started at 9 degrees here at WDAM, and that included a few other communities on the board as well. Okay, let's talk about tomorrow, right? Yesterday. You notice that basically we peaked at 32 degrees at 2:20 a.m. at Bobby Chain Airport. So in other words, we basically hit that sort of threshold where, yeah, we didn't get above freezing yesterday. You can see that even with that 32 degree mark being hit at 2:19 a.m., that was before the flurries began to fly. And by the time the sun came up and the flurries were getting more and more intense, for lack of a better term, during the course of yesterday, we only peaked around 28 to 30 degrees, and some communities got even colder than that, closer to 24 or 25 in the southern counties there. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting day, that's for sure. In terms of the snow, the brutally cold is going to stick around. That's why the alert day is in effect for now. And of course, we definitely are nowhere close to that record high set in 1937 at 83 degrees. But you can see there is a single digit there, that record low at 1985. It'll be interesting to see what the record low is for this date. Now, in terms of the snow, right, we picked up a decent bit, nowhere near as much as the I-10 corridor that just seemed to catch it all, right? But here in the area, you notice that a lot of those totals are going to be in excess of 2 inches and as much as 4 inches in the southern fringes of the Pine Belt proper. You can see Lumberton, one of the higher totals in the area there. Lumberton picked up approximately 4 inches there. Now, of course, if you take a look at the other locations there, you got McLaurin there, just shy of 4 inches there at 3. Sandy Hook, likewise, right there where Marion County meets Washington Parish, you can see Sandy Hook picked up approximately 3 inches there. And a lot of the other locations, it was very common for a lot of the folks to pick up in excess of 2 inches, primarily kind of along and south of US 98 in our area from that snowfall event we had yesterday. So definitely one for the books, not only for Hattiesburg, but along the Gulf Coast as well, where they had basically blizzard conditions at a time close to Lake Charles, where you have 35-mile-per-hour winds or greater and dip in visibility that's less than 3/4 of a mile. But we didn't have a blizzard here in South Mississippi. I know that a winter storm, a snowstorm at that, is extreme by South Mississippi standards, but we did not have a blizzard. Okay, let's talk about the rough change from yesterday to today. You can see that we start a lot colder. In fact, at sunrise, we were starting closer to 15 to 20 degrees colder than where we were the day prior. We're still starting quite colder than where we were yesterday, but the disparity between the 2 days is not as pronounced, with the exception of Tylertown there over in Walthall County. Most folks are going to be closer to 9 to 10 range. Okay, in terms of the snow being gone, well, we do have a few extreme cold warnings in effect for some counties in the area, but it is important to note that this is expected to be expiring soon, especially since today, as Rex was indicating, we will be peaking around 39 degrees for today. So these extreme cold warnings you can see are in effect for portions of the Pine Belt. That would include Wayne County, Perry County, Greene, George, Stone, and of course Pearl River and Walthall as well. Pearl River and Walthall being under the umbrella of the National Weather Service in New Orleans, whereas a lot of the other counties off to the east, like you see here, are under the umbrella of the National Weather Service in Mobile, whereas we do not have any extreme cold warnings in effect from the folks at National Weather Service Jackson office. Okay, for today, you can see that we have a very slight breeze, but it's not as much as what we had the past few days. I know the past few days, even though it was windy, remember, it wasn't a blizzard. We didn't have 35-mile-per-hour winds or greater, but it was breezy. That northerly wind was easily 10, 15, 20, maybe even 25 miles per hour at times. But here in the Pine Belt, it's fairly light. You can see that kind of easterly wind instead of the northerly wind we had prior, which also means that our ambient air temperatures, the difference between that and the wind chills is not as big. When it comes to wind chill, right, a lot of times you need a stiff wind to create that difference between the ambient air temperature and the drop in what it feels like in terms of the wind chill. But you can see the wind chills, yes, this isn't exactly pleasant, but it's a little closer, and I'm going to say a little closer to the actual ambient air temperatures outside. A lot of those folks are already in the upper teens and the low 20s in the area there. If you were to take a look at this right around sunrise, if you joined us this morning, it felt like, with the wind chill, it felt like 0 degrees in Seminary this morning. That was definitely the gold medal for that particular temperature map there. But it still feels quite chilly for some locations. Look at Wiggins there, down it feels like 4, and of course the wind chill of 5 in State Line, and a lot of other folks in the teens as well. So all things considered, a very cold day in the Pine Belt, with a lot of the snow finally is going to start melting for today. I even went outside not that long ago to go take a look at some of the cars here at the station parking lot, including my own, and you can visibly see the snow starting to melt as it starts to trickle downward. It's a fascinating process, that's for sure. So if you want to enjoy a little more of the snow, I definitely encourage you to do it before sunset today, before the temperatures drop again and before some of the snow begins to melt today. But even then, look at that. You notice that yes, we peak above freezing, but we peak just shy of 40 degrees, and it's going to feel like the closer to what those ambient air temperatures are. So you can see our little roller coaster here. Even when it's in the 20s and the 30s, it'll feel primarily roughly close to the values you see here as you plan for the daytime. And of course, once again, the extreme cold warnings will go away, and eventually, even with some of the cold nights still ahead of us here in the Pine Belt, as Rex indicated on his 7-day, we are eventually going to see a nice warming trend here in the Pine Belt with sunnier skies in our future. Thank you so much for joining Rex and I. I hope you enjoyed our little focus session here for taking a look at everything that's going on right now. And of course, enjoy your very chilly day right here in South Mississippi.